день, дорогие зрители, добрый день, уважаемые.
Hello, dear friends, dear colleagues. Hello, everyone. It is for the first time that we are united by such a unique event as AI Journey, and we're going to talk for the first time about cinema and how AI in Russia is used in various environments, in various forms, various types of production of TV series, movies. We have big specialists here from the movies industry and from the technologies industry as well. Darya Vereshchagina, wonderful actress. Darya Moroz, also an actress. Also a director, sometimes the author. I won't present the others, but, seriously speaking, it's Alexander Noskov, the showrunner, a scenarist for the new movie, The Magic Precinct, which actually, it's the second part, and the first part had many awards. So a good scriptwriter, and we will learn whether AI helps him do that or not. Maxim Kozlov, head of Sber Studios, the most technologically advanced production. I know that you're presenting this as an area of immersive tech at Sber, and we're going to tell more about what you do, because not many people understand what technology can do. Not all technology can be identified when we look at a certain movie. Gevond Andreasyan, a producer, very talented, very well known producer of many movies, and some of them made for Okko, which is very cool, thanks to Gevond. There was Russia's first series for children appeared, and we will talk with him how AI helps replace scriptwriters, actors, and then Mr. Vanin, responsible for GigaChat. I think the person who we're going to talk to for the majority of time, because there's a very important point here. Many people don't want to talk about this, but the cinema as it is and the movies industry is the most pirated industry. It's because many technologies that appear in the world, if they haven't appeared in Russia, we're still trying to use them, regardless of whether it's legal or illegal. We're trying to copy them, etc., etc. So it's not going to wait for the Russian camera to be invented. It will use the camera that exists in the world. Or the software, for example, it's the same. We're looking for ways to use it in any way, regardless of whether it is used in legal way or not. It's a separate ethical matter, but we must accept that the industry is like that. So while we're talking about the fact that the GigaChat is developing, the majority of colleagues, the producers, and are using other neural networks, Asian or European neural networks, for various purposes and various stages. So if we talk about that, about the stages in production, I think neural networks are used in every one of them, starting from the script. You'll tell about that, right? How they're using it. It doesn't mean that it's written by a neural network, it's just used. Also, for concepts, compositions, costumes, locations, the design, this is where the neural networks are used. It's for visual, including this Berskandinsky network, not just Midjourney. There are others as well. And then, with every stage, there are more and more. Of course, the replacement of the video made by people is not fully possible within AI right now. I think we'll begin with you, Alexander, because you as a scriptwriter is the representative of that part of the industry which, protested, at least in the USA, protested against the AI. So all the language models, learn using our scenarios, and we don't get anything from that. Of course, it was 3 years ago, right? Now we have achieved a level where there's some sort of regulation, some sort of the licensing rules, and in a certain way, maybe the copyright is based on that in some way. What's your personal take on that? How do you use that? Hello, everyone. First of all, I thought about that today. What does GPT mean for me? GPT, Claude, and some other AI agents too, which I use. And so I asked ChatGPT, how do you help me? And then it gave me all of my requests, analyzed all of my requests. I told him, how does it help me? And then it did that. There are a number of points. So I can say whether it's right or wrong. First, GPT helps generate ideas, concepts, and projects. Yes, but it doesn't generate ideas nicely. Helps form the logline and the stories. I don't want to write synopses, loglines. It's the analysis that they give you, and the AI is doing this very nicely for me. And at that moment, in the marketing, there's one copywriter starts to cry. All the copywriters start to cry. Something we want to do, descriptions of every series, of every episodes, in the series, are done. And I don't want to do that. And it's all done in 1 minute. No one actually needs them, but still we need to correct them. Structurizes the sequences and the acts. Well, it does, but it's still not very nicely done, not very cool. It's more of a mathematics, not something new. Episode by episode plans, breaking into scenes. Also, I don't agree with that. They cannot do that in a good enough way. They lack creativity for that, so I can say that there's teamwork here. Me and the AI. So it helps, sort it out. Like if mathematician works with a calculator, it doesn't replace him. A simple calculator, it just calculates, and that's it. And AI, I think, performs the same function. Change the dramaturgy, escalation somewhere yes, somewhere no. I don't believe that. It can tell you that you have a repetition here and here. It can do that. Also, it can tell you it told me that a certain part of the movie is very long, and so I looked it over with a fresh view, and I realized it was rather long. It's an important moment because right now many platforms, including Okko, that use we not write scenarios, but this work is we have our own AI agent that's called Redactor. All of the location matters for the production, brings them apart into the things that may be important to produce the movie. It's not the editor that edits and changes that, but the editor that helps to read it in the right way, to read the scenario in the right way. I agree. But the matter is, when you begin to ask for some dramaturgical things, then not every scenario can have mathematics adapted to it. But so with the lack of mathematics, this is something that starts. Yeah, thanks for telling that. But with that, you told you that you don't need a co-author. I never need a co-author. So for egotistical creators like me, the AI is something that is actually a requirement, something that will mirror your own thoughts. On the other way, depending on how you ask question, whether you ask the right questions, that's how they're going to answer. I remember when I asked questions, I'm using Claude right now. It was very, patronizing, and some people would find it very good, but I didn't find it good. I made him do very specific, to work in a very specific way. I wanted it to criticize me, and it couldn't do that at the start. Also, there's Monday for the paid version, who is very critical. Using personal experience, it's the GigaChat that you worked with, and it wasn't GigaChat. I had a sympathy with it. It started to give you compliments. Where classical, especially in the movies, we started to criticize things. These work, these don't work. If we use GigaChat, then. And it surprised me. It showed that it understands that I'm critical about it. I was very, very surprised for the first time when the first technology that you start to be empathic about. I think in some way I didn't like that this dialogue got lost somewhere. We had this spark. We had a chemistry. So in art, it could be something that we might be afraid of. Many viewers could think about that, because we think AI is formed with movies where AI is bad, is smarter, faster. So it's also one of the problems, because we don't have the right good understanding of the technology in modern cinema. What about Blade Runner? Give examples. The Smarter Than Me series, which is in Okko, it's a very positive picture of the technology. But the matter is that the relations that appear, it's good because it's learning, and I could ask it to write certain things in my own style. That's fantastic. Also, what I identified is the psychology, because they have a big psychological database. I can understand the psychology of a certain character, and this is very nice. I'm not a psychologist. They are expensive. The AI is cheaper. So I want to show you this. The AI voice recorder. That's it. With AI, any phone conversation, so I turn it on, and it brings it down to certain bullet points, summary for every. Yes, and do you tell the person you're talking to that he was recorded? Because there are things that are, and after meeting, I'm sent the explanation of all the meeting. I realized that the person couldn't do this. It's not something that I like. It means it was recorded. If everyone is warned, it's okay. maybe we will touch upon some ethical matters. So what do you use? What I use from psychological point of view, I'm using the editor who can tell me some things, and then what the last thing I've done, the very good thing, I made an LLM on the Magic Precinct, a small AI, directly on this series. I loaded all of the series there, and now I have a separate thing where I can put any question based on this project. And so it shows me whatever I need. So say which all of the love lines of the dwarf, and then it gives me that. And it's only my thing. I don't share it with anyone. I might add someone there. It is very convenient. Can I add to that about writing verses? I needed to write a bad verse based on the scenario, and GPT-chat couldn't do it nicely. It was still bad after the 20th time, but there was one phrase about the food linked them, and so just one phrase helped me, and I wrote the rest of the verse on my own. You know, GigaChat is writing verses very nicely. There was even a release with the songs. So if I want to tell my kids something, I'm writing a song with GigaChat. I can show it that. It's, you know, the capabilities of the neural networks. They have their own specifics. Some neural networks are used for e-com, for purchases. Some neural networks, for example, GigaChat, because it's in Russia, they work better with the Russian language and the Russian cultural code. And what you're telling us, it's about our data sets. So it's better with the Russian language than the Western models, and vice versa. So if you want to do something Russian style, the Western networks would just will have a high-level understanding. We have an in-depth understanding. I mean, GigaChat, that the Russian neural networks is something that it's more efficient, not getting an overhead view and having a small LLM. You can go deeper into the pre-train and get some Russian cultural code. So it means not everything that we need can be used. Can Sasha use GigaChat for his goals? I will at least try to right now. So before this conversation, you wouldn't do that, and now you would. Yes, as I said, neural networks specialize in some area, and so they're choosing their own niches, and we're the sole Russian neural network, no other. So we're trying to solve as many tasks as possible. If we choose some area, say healthcare, law, or some other area, we can switch all the maps, all the data scientists, put their efforts there. In a very short period, we will be able to achieve the results that could be on par with the Western models. And we will be better in Russian law. And the matter is just about the choice. And so what we spoke about today, if the industry has a request for working with videos, with everything that's related to video content production, then this request should be formed, we should meet, and we will then develop that. I met with our sound producers, and then the audience split into two parts. One part said that we should just ban it all, and the second part said that previously we had to hire musicians for jams and then to make a song out of that. Now the neural network generates 100 options and we choose whatever we like, and then we hire musicians for 2 hours. They play this melody and that's it. and then it works at Yandex Music or in Sber. So whether it replaces or helps, it depends on how you use it. You can work with the musicians for a week, or you can tell them to play something that you already like. For me, a neural network is a friend, a helper. It's not about scenario or video. I take a specific project, I describe it. For example, a new Простоквашино episode, so I put it everywhere. Give me the whole explanatory basis, the genetic code, the values. I know a lot. I know it's all in our culture, but to make it so deep, is in such small detail, I can't do that, and it can. The same thing with marketing. I might ask a question, and I'm asking very difficult questions, and so at some moment I begin to understand. Of course, it gives the results that are more applicable to the American model or the European model, but out of all that it gives me, I choose the things that I actually need, and then I pay the attention to only the things that matter, and only where there is sense. Because we discuss a lot, hundreds of things, so it just serves as an analyzer.
Yes, and apart from that, if you talk about posters, I'm uploading a poster, like, for example, there might be some variants, some options, and I give the tasks to it that I need. It doesn't know what I need to do. And I say, okay, this is the artist of this level. I need to accentuate this artist. I describe everything, and after that, it selects what should be done in the poster. But it will never say that, okay, this artist will get offended if you don't put him on the poster. Well, I mean, the agent of an artist or an artist himself will tell you that. I mean, you don't need to AI for that. Yeah, because they... I mean, you know, I get it. It's like, wait, I mean, I understand that, you know, sometimes I dread the dialogue with an artist that is going to last for 2 hours, so maybe it should be automated. Right. So we, you know, have discussed a lot of topics, and we're going to discuss generative AI. But before we go to the generative AI generated examples, I would like to give the floor to Darya Vereshchagina. What is your take on AI? What neural networks are you using? Maybe you are quite cautious about the technologies that start to replace artists, you know, this reface technologies, deepfake, yes, reface technologies. Well, I use ChatGPT when I try to understand the role. It's a great assistant. You put the scenario, you put a plot there, and you say, interpret the role of this character. It gives, you know, answers to some questions that you might have. And the structure is built. It's like talking with the director. So you're discussing the essence of the scenario, right? You're talking about the motives of the character. Yes. I just deep dive in everything. You know, I think it's great. So it's not to ask questions to the director. Yeah, sometimes artists and actors do not have time to ask questions to directors because everything is shot quickly. Actors might not have time for rehearsal, so it's great to have actors who are prepared. You know, if they're not prepared, that's obviously worse. So, okay, you are using that. To make sure it's more exciting for you to answer this question, I'll give the floor to Max. Could you please tell me the following? Okay, I know your progress. What have you been able to achieve? I understand how it helps to save the resources in the cinema making industry, but the risks of replacing these or that processes that used to be human processes, manual processes, now it's all automated. I mean, could you talk about that a little bit? Yeah, because, you know, when we talk about putting some prompts in AI and getting the video. There is no magic there. It will not be put in production. There is some fun production and real production, you know. You can do some AI-generated preview or understand the concept. Because, you know, when we say that the processes will change and the neural networks will replace us, that's not so. With AI, totally new tools are being created. They change all the classical pipelines that have been in use for decades, and that's very important. And the classical production, meaning the schedules and other things, you know, I mean, there are new tools, but the process has not changed. It's an entire production process with many players involved and stages involved. But now we see that we remove a whole section, a whole team or several teams, and we replace it with AI, and it testifies to the fact that the quality that AI delivers is something that we are okay with. And we're saying replacing teams. We do not replace the people. We change the processes, we change the pipelines. And now when we're talking about serious production, we appreciate the fact that, first of all, it helps us to drive down the production time. It helps frees up the time for the screenwriters to create something better. And, you know, these technologies help to unlock our potential, really, and make something really better. I mean, there might be some kind of a struggle with AI, you know, that they are replacing humans. No, it's a tool that can help us do better. But those who used to, you know, manually remove the green background in the videos, I mean, they had to use a new tool now, or they will lose their job. Yeah, the technology is moving forward very rapidly, and it would be great if we use it as a tool, as an assistant, but that would not replace a human being. And it will, you know, remain a tool. Do not be shy pronouncing these words, you know. These are words that should be set in stone. Yeah, you know, I mean, right now, you can see the synthesized frames by AI. You can see that human actors are relevant. And who will be removed? Well, the crowd shots, the crowd scenes, for sure. What about the stuntmen? No, they will remain. The decoration, I mean, the production starts using these LED screens. But it's all combined anyway, guys. Because from building decorations to this screens, white screens, the computer graphics, the decorations, and AI generation, everything is combined, you know. It all helps to ensure that we have the proper scale for the money and for the time frame where we were that used to be nothing, you know. It's like 10 years ago, we were not able to do a sci-fi movie because it would take like 10 years and billions. And we can do it in like 2 years now. Maybe in Western countries they can do it quicker, but the gap is closing. Yeah, but you know, like in Hollywood and here, the people who are great in creating graphics were a very selected few, but now small production companies can do the same with AI, and they can do it quicker and cheaper. It will help us to have great movies. Yeah, you know, there's groomers, for example. These are the designers who do the movements for the animals. You know everything, right? Yeah, well, I do. Just to, I mean, we're not ending our discussion, we're just starting. This year in Okko, we launched our own mascot, Buboko, so to speak. It's a kind of a monster, small monster, and it became a mascot of a child for child profiles. Is he here? Yes, I can see him, but you cannot. Mascot? What does mascot mean? Mascot is a kind of a character. Yeah, sorry, I'm not in the vogue here. It's kind of a symbol. Okay, thank you for explaining. It's like Cheburashka, Okay, that will be my 10th word in English language. Groomer and mascot. Yeah, right. Anyway, Buboko, that's his name. Did you come up with the name? Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, kids said that, yeah, that's Buboko for sure. Adults didn't get it. Hello, my name is Buboko, and we get a lot of letters and emails. Let's read them all. Small guy Haver is writing to us. He really liked the movie about that red-haired girl. Haver, fantastic picture, fantastic drawing. Maybe you can become an animator. Now, this is a non-professional video. Obviously, this video was done in like 2 hours, generated by a couple of AIs. The voice generated. I mean, you have seen this like claws that are gigantic, but anyway, I just wanted to show you that it's done instantaneously. There are some things that can be done in like 15 minutes. And I made this. My children did not want to go to bed. Hello everyone, you should go to bed maybe now, because it's high time to do that. And they were like, wow, Buboko answered us something, and they went to bed. Wow, look at that. That's some... My children would make the video where this character would say, told me to go to bed. Well, in a nutshell, the message is that right now in open source and various social network, there's a lot of trash kids content that is done by non-professionals, bloggers, and people who just wanted to ride the hype. This is a trash content, and it is watched by many kids, and it is like it is portrayed as educational videos, and they're just badly made. But if you use AI, first of all, you can remove the words, your words from the panel, for example. Yeah, just a joke, and you would be able to have an aesthetically acceptable content for the kids, because right now to make some movies for kids you have to have psychologists, teachers and animators. Now with experts in pedagogy and psychologists, kids psychologists, you can create some content. I mean, this content is needed because children watch all that, and when they watch some bad stuff that is not that is bad in terms of aesthetics, it's the results are not great, obviously. So generated kids content is something I think is promising. I think it should be personalized. Yeah, well, that's another stage. Yeah, something that you have shown for the kids is something that should be personalized, Could I please add? Yeah. Now, you said that there's a lot of trash content. Obviously, that led to the 2-time decrease from the sales in animation. It has never been so. cartoons have always been very popular, very stable, but the demand has gone down. Why? Because people started to watch all that, but at some point in time, they would want to have a proper quality, a proper plot and animation. They will go back. But now I think we will have this 3-year winter, so to speak. And if some professionals can work on that and great cartoons, then they will produce a better quality cartoon. And people will play with the generated trash content, and they will use it, and then they will understand it's unacceptable, and they will use a proper quality cartoon. Yeah, I will just give you a small snippet. We're making a series with Gevond. We're just having some drafts right now. Yeah, it's like we were using AI to have in 1 week to test drive some of our ideas. Yeah, the script, the plot is human written. Producers are needed as well, but we're going to give you a snippet of one series. 1958, July 23rd. Hello, my name is Denis. I live with my mom, whose fried potatoes is the best in the world, and with my dad, who knows everything in the world. And 1958, in summer, I was only 6 years old. I was not going to school, but even back then I knew that the adventures can be found anywhere. Just go outside. And in our courtyard, something great happened. Big construction. The bricks and the wood being moved to the construction site. There were sandcastles. The workers were really great. We helped them as we could. They showed us everything. Well, this is just a test drive. Yeah, that's what we have discussed. What are we, trying to understand with this test? We understand that the character, the life of the character is different, that there are some visuals that are not in line with the cultural code. For example, I don't think that in 1958 the Soviet children were wearing these boots. Yeah, the Pixar style cartoons were not there. Yeah, but I mean, all of this can be resolved, but the major problem that we have is that we don't have our own animation style, Russian animation style. It's very hard for us to have our own characters, with this huge, with this kind of American style faces. But it's very hard to get this, mid-Russian town guy, normal guy who would be in cartoon. But at some point in time, we'll be able to create that. Because right now, when you upload like a corridor and a bull, you have all this kind of people with black hair, kind of Spanish, Portuguese style people, and yeah, it's like when you the AI can give you the generalized answer, but right now we can use specialized AI, and you will be able to work with specialized AI, and you will be able to get your style, the style that you need. Yeah, just exchange your contacts. It's like in a year, it really developed. That was the pace of development was great. I think multiplication have never been going so quickly, and there's never been growing so quickly as it did in this year. And I think that this will affect animation, and in a couple of years it will affect the cinema, the movies. I think animation will be the first one to go. I think it's like using content and kind of being a parasite of the content. There are artists who give what people want, but it's like trash, It's like just give me something, you just give some content, and that's it. And something that I've seen right now, it's my sincere opinion. I just hope it's the first step to something more creative. But right now, it's an attempt to do some cheap content using the Dragunsky name, kind of, exploiting his name. Sorry for being a little bit aggressive, but I would have never shown this cartoon to my son. And we will not give that to your son, But my son would love to watch this cartoon. That's the difference. Okay, let me try to explain. You have said all the right words, but we said that we just wanted to test drive the idea. We did it in 1 week. We said, okay, a boy can look like that. He is like this character from Dragunsky writer. Dragunsky has like 68 stories. I thought he had 68 kids. No, just like small kids for book. 5-page book, 25-page book. And I got the rights for this 68 stories.
I made a 20-episode series on the Gavriil channel in many online cinemas. And in animation, when we calculated it 4 years ago, it just wasn't feasible, financially feasible, to make an animated cartoon of Deniskin's stories, because no one would pay for that. Now we have a chance, using this neural network, to the capabilities and the talent, using the right people, to have a cartoon based on that. Because the series that I made based on that, it's 7 to 8 plus, not for the 3-year-old child. And the format that the AI can give us could be adopted for a child. Of course, it would help us build these universes, not something that can be done in the future, because this makes it easier for us to solidify our cultural code. Let us not go deep too much into the financial part. The matter here is for the cultural code to stay there, because we don't need very specific identifiers here. But the GigaChat, we drew Cheburashka with you. What are you doing at your workplace? What are you getting money for? So yeah, we drew Cheburashka with various neural networks, and the Western neural networks get something like Labubu. They don't know it. Like, the Spanish face or something like that. You need to train this neural network. So GigaChat can draw Cheburashka. And it's a matter of, we discussed that with colleagues from GigaChat. It's a matter of copyright, right? So you can't upload Norstein there. I'm not talking about Soyuz-Multfilm, Mosfilm. We have our own original series made by Okko, which belong to us. I would share that with the neural network and would help it train it for a generative video on our content. But I must be responsible for the rights and make it in our own circuit, because GigaChat gives us opportunity, as far as I know. A very big studio can train a generative model which will be based on a big library of data which exists. I think we need a separate meeting to discuss the legal part for that. I would like you to present as the super guest. He will now join the discussion, Nikita Glukhov. He's online with us, a very talented and very modern generative producer, I will call you like that, the person who is the head and the author of the project, the DJ Notebook. Let us watch this video. DJ BlokNote. a song based on a famous verse by Alexander Blok.
И повторится все как всталь. Ночь ледяная, рябь канала, аптека, улица, фонарь.
And now it's the same verse.
Все будет так, исхода нет. Умрешь, начнешь опять сначала. И повторится все как всталь. Ночь ледяная, рябь канала, аптека, улица, фонарь.
Ну чего?
What do you think of that?
Прикольно. Никита, привет.
Nikita, hi. You know, Yesenyan's verses are even better. They work better with AI. Yeah, they actually exist.
Но это на самом деле вот что понятно сейчас все мы можем.
We know that all of us can. Where this kind of content is, it's in the open source. Yes, it can be accessed freely in all the allowed social networks. What kind of segment this is? So people, young men, or grown-ups. I think that's a question to Nikita. Nikita, please tell us.
Благодаря твоим роликам
Thanks to your videos, my children have learned actually some classic poets. Maybe they knew about them from school, but through that they became interested in that.
ну слушай, когда ты в 12 лет вдруг начинаешь
You know, when you
такое в
start to,
стихи, которые ты, может быть, даже не попадались тебе,
you know,
всё равно это
getting to learn the verses that you haven't heard before, or maybe you get interested in that. I think that's a positive thing.
первый раз. Ты сначала хихикаешь, сначала думаешь, ха-ха,
So first you are smiling, and then you're thinking that's very funny. They took the verse and then generate video,
ты уже подключаешься.
and then you get a little bit addicted to that.
Ты всё равно так или иначе проваливаешься в
You sort of go deeper into that,
физическое удовольствие.
and you get some aesthetic pleasance from that. You know, I played Blok in this video. The animation is made by neural network based on my movements. It's not necessarily playing by itself. You can play it on your own, then change the first part of it is changed, and then it automatically rolls it out throughout the whole video. It's the second version of the video. 2 months have passed, and neural networks have made bigger steps. I remade it. First of all, it was smaller, not very consistent. Now it's consistent. It actually looks like the famous poet.
Поёшь тоже ты?
Are you singing? No. The AI is singing, which I thought was very acceptable for that and very suitable for the appearance of Blok and his voice. But with Yesenyan, I tried to make it closer, because there are recordings of Yesenyan's voice. But those who heard the real Yesenyan's voice, after listening to this song, there was a voting. People didn't like Yesenyan's natural voice. They liked actually the AI voice. I have a series of content which is not about singing, because the singing content is very hard to make using real voice. There is a series where the writers are telling us something with their own voice, and with their own voice telling us about themselves when it was possible. Who is the audience? The main audience is people are thinking that it's about the children, but 50% plus audience is people of about my age, 30, 40 years, and they show the children about Alexander Pushkin's books. They watch the videos about that, then they find it easier to remember. And some of the schools even use my content. So it's not my initiative, it's the initiative of the teachers to show such kind of content. Now I have the limitation. I cannot make adult content. I only make children's content, approved by parents, who then show this content to their children. You know, the question that frankly must be discussed, that I think 2 years ago, when, you know, the neural networks just, the first results were visible with a wow effect, the dialogue was very important. Who must work on the neural networks? Those who developed them. Well, the developers thought that we could make such networks that they could generate content, and there will be no need for a human creator. And the creators said that no, we don't need that, we'll do it on our own. So what happened? As a result, today there is a scriptwriter, a producer. So Nikita made video production, worked on video production, and then you actually had to go deep into the technology, and then you started using this creativity together with technology. So technology did not replace creators, but the creators themselves started to use technology, and the creators as a whole, they wanted to replace the others. This is the process that's happening in this area. You know, no one is replacing anyone, because the neural networks allowed to do something that we were not able to do because we didn't have these capabilities. So yes, we are using them for help. So, you know, people are saying that it's used in schools, as some short videos about our famous poets. This could not be done previously, because previously you need to find money, go to a museum, find actors. It was expensive. It wouldn't be able without a neural network. No, it's impossible. Because, for example, it can be done for 300,000 rubles, or 50 million if it were done with human actors. So a neural network helps us open up new opportunities and areas. But that's very dangerous. Dangerous point whether AI stimulates creativity. With this logic, the answer is yes. But it can contradict. It's almost self-contradictory, but we're coming to that. But also, it's absurd. Because regardless of how you treat it, without it develops without you, you still have to. You still have to adapt to that. If you block this whole story, sort of you will be behind that. Thank you for that. I'll give also the word to Darya. Question to you. What's your take? It's a very famous actress. Not to say big words about that. I have two areas of this: the technological part and the emotional part and the ethical part. Because if we talk globally about that, creativity, what's about creativity? What is creativity? What is the creator? We understand that. I think the creator is a sort of a God's spark which gets into you and makes itself into a final result. If we look about the AI as an additional technology, then it's another thing. But I think people are afraid of the fact that AI at a certain point will start replacing creativity. For me, this is individuality plus errors, plus mistakes, or the right to a mistake. Can we get an emotion from a machine? Well, yes, we can, but what is behind that? For example, when an artist is saying that they think that they are the creators, then it's not right, because there is the muse, the god, the author, the poet, and the artist. And these are all parts of the same thing, and they are just all conduits, not just a single spark that falls into us, and that's it. So whether the AI is capable of being sorry for the death of someone close, and this grief would help this AI create something, I'm not sure about that. This is the spark of emotion that that is the incentive for creation. All the artists wanted to try something new, not a set of patterns out of a million and a million ideas that are part of the brain. It's the minute of individuality. It's for artists, for directors, for anything. It's we're mentioning that there's some auxiliary technology, and there's the fear of replacement, that we can use this synthetic thing to replace the real drawing, for example, done with a pencil. I think that's impossible, as far as I know. Yeah, I agree. It's what it is. And, you know, the spiritual part is an indispensable part of creativity. And when we're talking about AI, this is a generative story. But at the same time, as I think, we can argue with that or not, but it's sort of makes it simpler. We are at the moment when the tool is being formed. It's not yet formed. We're beginning, we're starting that, we're getting the brush, and we were learning to use that, and to try to do more complex things with that. And only after a certain period of time we will realize what kind of brushes exist, how they are used, what to draw on. So there should be a code for that. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Seems like it is required. All of the conversations end with that. Let's write a code. So we're afraid of uncontrolled development. We're afraid of something that we don't know. You know, when the cinema appeared, you can understand what happened, because theater was the basis of everything, and for them, cinema is, just it's, the same effect that they had. Understand? Cinema, we do not participate with that. But then after a certain part of time, the theater didn't go away. It became more elite type. You talk about elitarization. It's manual work, and that's something automatic. It's not about something disappearing. It's about something new appearing. That's it. Something new will appear. I don't think one replaces the other. The one erases the other. But people are saying, why are old movies being remade? They are not remade. They are they're put into a video. It's the same story, just made into a different video. One doesn't replace the other. It's like something soft right now. It will have a form, and at a certain moment they will have their own framework and go into its own niche. Yeah, no, you know what was the grassroots content when the UGC happened, and everyone thought that it's bad television. And then they thought it was more interesting than standard television. And then blogging is just as a whole area. It became personalized. And I have this question to DJ BlokNote.
So, DJ BlokNote, you have created this video thinking that you have a great mission to teach Russian children of Blok poems, of Blok, or you wanted people to watch it. What was the goal of this story? To get on the hype, or to have some, or raising kids? Well, I have been working in videos for 15 years, and music. I have been doing music for about that time as well. It has been the 8th year since we are using the neural networks. I'm constantly testing the technologies, and when I have a new neural network appears, I tested the technologies for Pushkin and Lermontov, the famous Russian poets. So I just tested them. But as for the Blok, a famous Russian poet as well, that was another story. I had a lot of subscribers who reached out to me and said that they were interested, and based on that video, I understood. I mean, based on that video, this story is told about this famous poem by Blok about that sailor who wanted to commit a suicide, but didn't do that. So the first couple of videos, these were just test driving purposes, and in this video, yeah, I feel the responsibility for the kids who are going to watch it. In terms of the number of views, it's the second version. I mean, I don't expect anything much. I'm doing the second version, and I want to make sure that Blok looks like himself, like he used to look. So there might be another version, right? It would be great. This is something I would love to have more, to make it more immerse, maybe for you to be in this movie, to make a quality of the content higher, to do some fact checking. I made the same video for Borodino, that's a poem by Lermontov, and I was in the studio with historians who laughed and said, well, the AI made some weird stuff that never existed. And now there are new technologies that can capture many contexts. And if I write a village house of Russia of 19th century, it will give me a lot of context, and it will also make this Russian village house look as closely to the original as possible. So if I was recreating Borodino, the number of mistakes would be minimized. So there are historians, experts on this poem and on this period. And if I was creating it in the classical way, it would take us years to recreate the environment, the vibe. But now it can be done much quicker, and I think in some time it will be done even quicker. So this technology helps to remove my mistakes, because I don't know what were the costumes back then, what were people wearing during that period, you know. And now I can do it for free. I can understand what people were wearing, and I can do it for free, and it will. AI helps to minimize the mistakes. As we were talking about Cheburashka, can you give me the first version? That does not look like one. Wow, look at that. The same prompt, I did it right now. So the first I gave the description, Cheburashka, based on the description. The same neural network, and the second one, description and reference in the same neural network. And here we can see Cheburashka looks like the original one. It is in the kind of a Soviet apartment. And if you can look at that, this room does look like the Soviet one. There are some problems, but, you know, it's closer to the original. I like the first version as well. I mean, AIs were trained on non-Russian data sets, but if we upload the information, we will be able to get a true information, true image. If we upload this image, that means that this reference will be available to everyone. I took photos of Cheburashka from internet, online, but yes, it is all pushed to the Google servers, and they're using it for training. You know, Nikita, I want to open a secret that, you know, we want to create a lot of things with Nikita, and the question is, when will we be enslaved? Oh, no, not really. But with Maxim's help, maybe we can digitize Darya Vereshchagina, the actress. We will consult with Darya Morozova as a director, and we will generate a project that would have better sales than even the projects of Gevond. That would be complicated. So I'll get the salary as a producer, or what? Is it true that our foreign colleagues are talking about agents who are going to manage digital copies of actors? Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's my dream. Oh, I dream about that as well. That would be fantastic. Okay, we have to understand about the future. I'll ask Nikita. You have been doing that for quite a while now. What about the growth rate? Is it increasing? Yeah, Nikita is from the future. He is connected to us from the future. The furniture looks the same in the future. Well, I just know that 46% of online content is AI generated. 46%. Right now, there's a social network that is based only on AI content, and people are uploading themselves and their profiles. I can appear there in any form, kind. If we talk about cinemas and movies, people are tired of AI, and they do not trust AI. If they see that this was fully AI-generated content, they don't trust it. They don't believe it. You know, right now, if you're a large company, you just kind of have to generate AI videos every day. We see the same AI content, and these are the same people who are just trying to sell something, and it's all the same, it's all generic. And when people subscribe to some influencers and other things, you know, it doesn't really work.
На тех, кто готов смотреть это, и на тех, кто отвергает все яично. Поэтому вот в чем...
Yeah, so what is the idea?
Люди вот в том, что вот когда я создаю...
As I generate a video, I have to get rid of a lot of things that were generated by AI. And right now, you cannot just say, AI, make a content for me. You have to redo, edit, create your own scenes by yourself. So, Nikita, I think we're talking about a different thing, bro. Sorry, but just we were talking about replacing actors with AI. Because what you are talking about is not generating it, but it's like the other thing. So maybe the actor agrees, gives the digital copy, they get the same money, but it's not that just the actors don't have to have lunch, they don't have to commute to the studio. Let them have the money, but the digital twins will be created. I think it was actually the law has been passed on digital copies. One actress was invited, and for a day she was photographed for AI, and she was just paid for this shift, for this day, one day, and then her copy started to be used everywhere. And she asked the question, okay, what am I going to do now as an actress? It launched a huge crisis where actors and producers started to say that this is not acceptable. And it's like the copyright, yeah, I mean, a fee has to be paid to an actor if a digital copy is used. The question is whether there is the same quality, because viewers should not be able to distinguish between the AI-generated actor and the real one. Yeah, just look, we used to have like the trailers, sizzle trailers. You have a plot and some trailer that is just, you know, used that is using some parts of some other movies, and that was terrible. Then it was replaced by trailers created by AI. It is just some gray noise, really, because you cannot really, from an emotional point of view, accept that. So it does not sell the idea, but as I'm not talking about the trailers, but I'll talk about some other content, as there is a mix. And then when we shoot something with an actress, with Darya, for example, and then add some AI, it works. So you start to say, okay, right, so it's the same with the green background, you know, like people said, okay, we don't need green backgrounds, we're going to shoot it in outside. But now we're using it very actively. The same will happen with AI. It will be just yet another tool. Maxim has a huge stack of technologies that are used right now, and I think you can add on, build on that. Give me one. Is there a replacement? Yes. But who is going to be playing the part? There's some artists, some painters. There is a digital copy, like an avatar. They have to play a dramatic, some dramatic scene. Like they should say, I love you to a person who is leaving them forever. It will be someone who will look like that person, but there will be a reface, like not a deep fake, but a reface. A high quality copy of an actor will be prepared and then it will be replaced. So my talent is, I mean, so I'm going to be played by another person. It's not like a replacement, but it's like, you know, about other things. There will be other actors. It will be the stand-in actor. Yeah, maybe, you know, making actors more young if they're making something about the past in the movie. And yeah, you know, like there was an actor who was playing parts, and you know, we have several examples. You know, we have a series right now about the ballroom dancing and about the ice skating, and there professional actors with reface technologies can actually dance. So it's not like an actor plays a part It's like he plays a part when he says "I love you," but then when we talk about the dancers, it is all done by other actors, by the professionals. Well, I mean, are you an actor or are you a professional dancer? The question is, can I play a part as Darya Vereshchagina? Why not? Of course no, because she has an individual talent and her individual method to play this scene. Can she play a part like I do? No, because I have my individuality, and if within my face, if you use reface, and there is a stunt person playing my part, she will replace me. Yes, it will be my face, but my talent, my capabilities will not be added to that. Is it good or bad? Well, no, but it's a fact. There is some magic, really. I would agree with Darya. You work a lot with neural networks. If I repeat my prompt, the result will be different. It knows more context about you. The same with an actor. When he plays a role, he goes through the experience, and then there is some chain of thoughts, and then this magic happens. If we just make a reface, it will just not work. So if I ask to write a scene in Edgar Wright style, it will never do that. No, it will never do that. And we had reviews on the focus groups, so the same prompt and different results, and same prompt, written by many people. And if you insert one word, like one extra word, you will get one result. And selecting the words, the prompting, is your personal experience. How do you live through that?
Оно завязано на мысль, и на эмоцию, и на бэкграунд. То есть, условно говоря, когда ты можешь разобрать...
Yeah, this is also based on the background, on the emotions, because, for example, a role is explained to you and interpreted by the AI. You read it all, and even the best actors, they connect the main character with himself and with his own background and experience. This is going to be one whole. But you understand there is a huge audience that will never understand it like you wanted to have it. They will just scroll through, they will not notice the details. When we started to make not movies but content, this was the time when the era of cinema ended. That was terrible, because I wanted to make movies and people want content. It's like something from the couture brand and the mass market brand clothes. There's no demand for great details, for attention to details right now, so people just want content. Nikita wanted to say something. Yeah, I want to say that neural networks, they're not trained by people. They're trained by content. I have a daughter, and I can see how she grows up and recognizes some things. The same with AI. I don't know what it knows. I can ask questions to it and know what it thinks. The same with neural networks. Creators of neural networks do not fully know the functionality. It was trained based on some data, and it starts to give some answers. And we were training with the neural networks that were trained on images and videos. When AI... imagine all the movies and videos that exist. When AI analyzes all these videos and it knows all the emotions of everyone, it will never play your part, because you are you, and only the full copy of you can play the part to the same extent as you can. But making it truthful, that's another thing, But it should know everything about everything else. But if it achieves that, then yes. Okay, it's a question of time. Even if at some point in time all roles of Darya can be uploaded, what, like 2,000, 1,000 roles? Yeah, and after some time, we will be able to get the entire range of her talent, the emotional responses, the emotions and other things. You know, maybe Darya can upload it herself, make some story that she would insert in other stories. Yeah, because if Darya puts a microphone and just for 10 years voices all her emotions and inner thoughts, the AI will behave like her. But there will be no soul there, right? No, absolutely not. Yeah, there is a cinema, there is content, and the actors, they not only do cinema, but also content. On the one hand, this technology inspires, because we can do movies that take less time and money. But you know, this is content. Because, you know, as a producer, I want to be in the role of a person, because there are two categories. The first one is crying out, where are we going? And the other one is rolling the world forward, because I would want to be the leader.
That was a funny phrase, you know, you said that as a producer, I don't want to be a human very much. Well, Steven Spielberg was very much against AI, you know. All right. Multiple parties are claiming the floor. Okay, I'm gonna split this discussion into highlights, because you've spoken all kinds of interesting things. You know, I've got this small hope stemming out of everything we discussed. The hope that just as in creativity we speak to screenwriters, directors, writers, producers, cameramen, any artist, one way or another involved in the creativity, about the most valuable thing being, you know, the meanings. We arrive at meanings in the movies, and as we create a work of art, first and foremost we need to respond to the question why we are doing this, because one way or another, you know, 30 years down the line of these illnesses of the Russian cinema after the fall of the Soviet Union, you know, we started wrapping our heads around the values, and this is where AI is fully on the stage. So the hope is that, you know, as we think about the meaning, we understand that everything that we create, content or movies, it all influences the culture of our nation. We are part of our nation's culture. As creators, we are feeling this responsibility, but it would seem that in the modern world that the responsibility of a creator is not enough. The viewer's responsibility should also come into play. The viewer should also ask him or herself the question why he or she is watching this. And if the upbringing allows him or her to watch empty content, and this is just on a physical level replaces something without carrying any artistic or meaningful value, then that's the problem. That is a fearful outcome. We need to remain the humans. You know why we're different? You know, when an American is asked, "Have you read Byron or Shakespeare?" if he hasn't read him or her, he said no. Our guy will be ashamed and lie, because it's embarrassing not to read. You know, you can't say that you have not read Byron or Shakespeare. You know, AI will not understand that we are the way we are. Well, thank God that's the way it's going to happen. You know, recently I spoke with Oliver Stone, and he said an outstanding thing, that perhaps there was an interview. Okay, is he in this room? No, he's not. Okay. That was not in my head. That was back at an event offsite. And at that time, he said a very important thing, you know. In the Russian cinema, just as in the Russian art and literature, The spiritual principles, the spiritual element is so at the fore, unlike anywhere else. Dear viewers, thank you very much for listening through this discussion. Hopefully it was of some use. If you are in any doubt that we stand in favor of creativity, then right away go to the Okko online theater and look at the things that Alexander Noskov or Grigor Andreasyan are doing, or the place where Dasha Vereshchagina, the wonderful actress, starred, or Dasha Moroz as a director created. Nikita Glukhov, you can also watch there, and perhaps they are at a stage of creativity that is just emerging thanks to AI in the modern information environment. And largely we are creating this thanks to the technologies that are brought to us by Nikolay, Vanin and Kozlov. Thank you very much, dear viewership. Do stay human.